Amy? Okay. KRC. Ready? Okay, XRF. All right, are there any other amendments to the agenda department?
I'd like to strike the student wellness program countries.
Okay.
I would like to strike EVP travel match grant.
Okay. Any other amendments to the agenda? All right. Seeing none, I can entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Heather?
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second? Second by Ian. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those against? And those that abstain? All right, so 11-0-0 vote. The agenda has been approved as amended. Before we move on, how do you stand up with the notes for the USAC live? Okay, great. And then also, can we, first of all, welcome back. Everyone who hasn't been here. So Ilana East is back. Yay! And then who else is back? And Oriel is back. All right, I think everyone else has been here. And then so also we have the proxies and introduce yourself, say your proxy for. Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay.
I'm Ashley and I'm proxy for transit.
Okay, sorry, can you say one more time?
I'm Ashley and I'm proxy for transit.
Okay, great. All right, thank you all. So we'll go ahead to approval of the minutes from August 17th. So I believe those were sent out today. Are there any discussion right
I
now?
move to amend the section on the USAC special presentation. The minutes, in that section, UCSA was referred to several times, but it was USSA that was being referred to, so it's one letter, but to be replaced in every reference to UCSA.
Okay. So Danielle on USAC Live, UCSA should be corrected to USSA?
That's correct.
Okay. Are there any other discussion regarding the minutes? All right, seeing none, I can entertain a motion to approve the amendments. Zach?
I move to approve the minutes for August 17, 2015.
All right, there's a second. Second by Amy. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those against and those that abstain? All right, to 11-0-0 vote, the minutes have been approved from August 17th. Now we'll go on to public comment. So for any public commenters that are in the room, the first round of public comment will be audio only. So USAC Live will be shut off. You have 2 minutes for your public comment, so go ahead and see if there's anyone. Okay, so for audio only. So the second round is audio and visual. So that's fine. Okay. Okay, great. So you have 2 minutes. I'll let you know when you're fine.
Okay, hi, I'm Casey. So I work at the USAC Treatment Center, so I'm an instructor, but I'm a student here. And I'm just going to be working with SWC and Heather to just raise more awareness about why people should be donating blood on campus, why it's so often that we have an on-campus donation center. Because we are we're one of 2 schools in the nation that have an on-campus donation center. And our hospital does receive all of the traumas and critical patients that are coming in from all the small hospitals around the area, coming to Santa Monica and Ronald Reagan, and our donation center goes directly to them. It's nonprofit, unlike other donation centers like Red Cross or anything like that. It's just unique with us. It's awesome that we have that. And I don't think many students on campus realize that at all. They just think they're going to get the blood that they need, and it's not happening because we aren't in the donation center anymore, and people don't come in as often, so we've been having a hard time getting people in. So I think we are going to set up a safety week, and during the safety week, we're going to set up a blood drive that whole week, and then also have a safety drive the entire second week for all communities to come in if they're eligible. But just to give you guys an idea, every day we do have transplants, and today, like just an example, we had an O-positive kidney transplant. We usually have a liver transplant every day, and that can take up to 100 units of blood, and every donation that you give is 1 unit, so 100 people are needed for 1 person to have a transplant, which is, we really do need it every day. Like Ronald Reagan sees so many patients, so if we can just get the word out more this year, hopefully keep it going every quarter, have more drives, and just keep it going next year and on. I'd like to support that. Possible. And does anyone have questions about anything?
Question, public comment, we can't do questions, so perhaps you give your contact information to Heather.
Yeah, so Heather, if you guys have questions, ask Heather.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. All right, so we're gonna keep going for audio only public comment. All right, seeing none, you can turn the USAC Live back on. All right, thank you. So now this is public comment for audio and visual. Okay, last call for any public comment, audio and visual. All right, seeing none, I'll close public comment at 7:07. So with that, we will go straight into our appointments and see that there's no special presentations. So first up, we have for EAC Esmeralda. So before we have you go out, we'll have Heather read your ARC interview, with recommendations to council. Then after that, we'll have you come up and do your 1-minute opening, followed by 5 minutes for questions and 1 minute for closing. So we'll have Heather read the ARC recommendations first. In the meantime, Lexi made a call on that. Hopefully everyone got some.
Sorry, it's in my car all day, but I know that it was okay for the last.
So good.
Also in my kitchen.
Okay, Heather, give the ARC interview. Hold on. All right, so I'm gonna hand the microphone over to Heather.
All right, I'll read the description. I'll read the description first. We've heard it before, but I'll just read it again. The Community Activities Committee is a subcommittee of the Program Activities Board. They oversee funding regarding projects which were created as learning and service experiences for UCLA student volunteers to work with off-campus, non-UCLA student populations. Act as a forum for soliciting views on the nature and goals of community service and makes allocation decisions for community service projects. Must attend a 4-hour orientation in early August and attend meetings which are held at least once per quarter. Must take part in hearings that last from morning until night. Must make at least 2 site visits. The 4 undergraduate members, 3 regular and 1 alternate, are appointed by the USAC president for a 1-year term, July through June. It is encouraged that you have experience with being part of an organization as applied for CAP, have knowledge about the importance of the programs, and that it is mandatory to attend meetings and hearings. So Esmeralda received a 300 vote, and the notes were has outside experience and leads tight knowledge of standards for funding bodies.
Thank you, Heather. All right, so Esmeralda, if you have you come up front, so you can just go right up there, right in front of the board. So again, you'll have 1 minute for your introduction. I'll raise my hand when you have about 10 seconds left, just so you kind of keep time. And then it'll be 5 minutes for questions from the council, and then 1 minute for closing. So I'm ready to begin whenever you want.
So I'll keep my introduction brief. Hi everyone, my name is Esmeralda Lopez. I'm in the company's 3rd year, and I'm retired as an undergraduate in the College of Letters and Science as a computational and systems biology major. And I am basically going to be an undergraduate representative for CAC.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll go ahead and do questions from the council. Do you have any questions for Esmeralda? On IEC.
So what first are we interested in about the position? Well, I have been having CST projects for WATS and also for GLP. And so I was familiar already with non-community service organizations here at UCLA that have the program we have on the outside community, like outside of our school. So I already was familiar with that. And but I was interested, I guess, in developing a stronger leadership role in the community service sector. And so I guess I got the email, and this was a great opportunity for me to have this prior experience, and I was going for it, basically.
Ruby?
Why are you passionate about community service?
I think for two reasons, especially when we focus on UCLA students. I think the first reason is that I come from a background where I guess like a lot of the community service projects are focused on socially and economically disadvantaged communities, and I come from a background like that. So I understand that it's necessary for us to have these type of programs to inspire and to help people grow. So I approve of these, projects that go on at UCLA because I know the impact they have firsthand. And second of all, I think it really does enrich the students here because, you can't learn everything just in the classroom. It really does help if you get out there and you experience the world firsthand.
Are there any other questions? Amy?
Can you talk a bit about how you're going to balance your academic commitments with the sometimes heavy workload of CAC and be successful at both?
I think that it won't be as difficult because I think the good thing about CAC is that you're getting the most heavy work out before the school year starts because the heavier, where you have to be there 8-9 hours per day are the next 2 weeks. So then I think that balancing out some visitations, checking in meetings and stuff like that, they won't be as cluttered in. So I will be definitely able to balance out and know beforehand how to manage those, for sure.
All right, Amy?
Given that there are so many projects, how will you ensure that the allocation of the limited resources are done so in a fair way and in a way that these projects are funded equally as opposed to there's like this disconnect of greater funding for one project?
I think in CAC, sorry, we focus a lot on the content of each applicant. So it's important to look at the content itself because we can't say one project is better than the other because all of them are trying to do something else, right? So let's just focus on the content beforehand. And I think that helps us be very much fair. We're looking at what they've done in the past, what are they doing now, what are they going to do, how unique they are, what they're trying to get at. Definitely we just focus on the content.
Are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll go into your 1 minute period closing.
Okay. I just want to say that I'm really happy to be here. I'm really excited that I got the opportunity, and I'm going to definitely try my best to be as fair and efficient as possible in my position, and I look forward to it.
Thank you so much for the round of applause. We're now going to go into discussion about your minutes. So welcome to stay in the room if you'd like, or step outside to whatever you feel more comfortable doing. Okay, perfect. So I'll go into discussion regarding as relevant with CAC. Are there any points of discussion?
Can we elaborate more on the common goals stuff in regards to tidying up something that I read? I couldn't.
Yeah, so maybe someone from ARC. Heather?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure the volume was on. Is that loud? Which it was.
Okay, so the comment in regards to tidying up language, I think that it was, let me pull up. Sorry, I think that as in regards to the question of what is your understanding of the guiding principles behind CAC and what is the mission of CAC, we just wanted to see more of like a concrete answer. That I thought that like her answers tonight really reflected that she was knowledgeable about the body.
Any other discussion? I can also entertain a motion anytime as well. Zach?
I move to approve the equipment as well as the community activities.
All right, is there a second? Second by Ariel. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those against? And those abstain? All right, so 11-0-0 vote as motion approved.
You'll have 1 minute for your introduction, followed by 5 minutes for questions from the council, and a 1 minute for your closing. I'll raise my hand when you have about 10 seconds left, just so you can get yourself. Ready whenever you are.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me tonight. My name is Maud. I'm a social major. I transferred from Mount San Antonio College. I was really involved in student government there. In my tenure at Mount San Antonio College at the student government, I ran for a Senate position. It was an appointed position at first. And then the next year, I ran for the executive board and wanted to see as president there and gained a lot of experience in that capacity. And in my capacity as president, one of the things that I had to do was allocate $600,000 to community groups and campus organizations and student organizations so they could carry out their activities year long. So it's very relevant work, and I really found that the work that you do really impacts a lot of students, and that was the biggest reason why I'm really interested in this position.
Thank you very much. All right, so now we'll go on to questions from the council. Stop together.
Can you talk a bit about what strategies you have in place to successfully balance both your academic commitments and the workload that can sometimes be quite heavy for the student?
So as an all give a great answer, and I'll just pick back off that so I don't want to be redundant. But the biggest thing is I'll plan to spread out the meetings with the organizations throughout the year so that way I'm not going to overload myself in one quarter and be too consumed with that. And so that was also recommended too. So that was a great way for the work to not overload and responsibility.
All right, do you have any more questions? Ian?
How will you ensure that funding is allocated fairly?
Okay, so different ways. So first, definitely following up these organizations is crucial, and that can be done in different ways, either by their email, hitting them up, or actually going to these sites, which I plan on doing, going and seeing what these funds have been used for. If they wanted to rent lands and go to the elementary school, like Maps or Uma does, I would be more than happy to go along with these journeys to make sure that the funds are being used appropriately.
Are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll go into your 1 and your closing.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so the biggest thing is that my experience in this capacity will directly impact a lot of students' opportunity to lead on campus. So this is, we're going to be sitting on a table and listening to these students and understand why they want to do it. But at the end of the day, they're going to go out and they're going to provide service to the community. It's something really important for them. And I'm really excited to be as objective as possible and give them as much money as we can and make that away. So, thanks.
Thank you so much. Take a seat. We don't want to stay here or stand out, whatever you're more comfortable with. So we're going to read your ARC review, because I didn't do that before. Then we'll go into discussion. It's on the council budget.
All right, so you received a 300 vote of approval, and some of our notes for, or from the ARC interview were to tighten up knowledge of funds going towards community service organizations. We liked that you had personal investment to follow up with organizations to ensure that the allocations are being implemented.
All right, great. So now we can have any discussion regarding Ahmad. Amy?
Just having this interview, going off of the last point that Heather just said, the fact that he had a personal investment in terms of saying that he would actually go to these sites, actually bid for these projects and see where the funding was going, that was very appealing to me in terms of in the interview. So that's something to consider, that he is going to take a personal investment.
Thank you. Are there any discussions? I can also entertain a motion anytime as well.
I move to improve Ahmad and Zoe as community activists to be.
All right, is there a second? Second by Heather. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those against? And those abstaining? All right, so 11-0-0 vote. Ahmad's been approved. Okay, thank you so much. Now we're going to go on to our last appointment for the CAC, and this is Tammy. So we're going to read your ARC interview.
She received a 300 vote of approval. We thought it was awesome that she spoke with Soul about PACT and informed. She has experience and insight into the projects, and we recommend that she tighten up knowledge of funding process specifically.
So Tammy is going to be coming forward as the alternate, so she'll be functioning the same role, just won't be voting unless the other 3 members are present. So Tammy, you have 1 minute for your introduction, and then we'll be 5 minutes from council and 1 minute for your closing. So I'll give you a 10 seconds when you have that time left. So I'll let you know when you're at 50 seconds.
So hi, I'm Neutral, and I will be a second year microbiology major at DePaul. Even though this is the first year at CLA, I have the chance to be a director for one of the CSC projects, and being on CSC staff has enhanced my knowledge about student funding and how student organization works in general. So that's why I want to offer my insights and skills to CSC.
Okay, thank you. So I'll go ahead for 5 minutes of questions from the council. So do you have any questions for Tammy? Amy?
So given that the notes referred to after your interview in terms of tightening up on knowledge of funding sources, were you able to take time to tighten up on that knowledge?
I have received the application folder and read through some of them, and I kind of get an understanding of how the application works now, because I didn't apply for CAC myself as a director, but to see the variety of different needs of different organizations helps me understand more.
Ian?
Could you talk a little bit about your experience in community service mission and your role as director, and sort of how that helped you in this new role that you're appointed?
Yeah, I think being a director of a service organization makes me realize what is needed for funding, what we set aside for. But then being on CSC staff, going through training and everything like this, summer retreat that we had, was really helpful because I know that we have a limited resource to fund, and not everyone can get the resource that they want. So it's a balance of both sides of what we need, but what is deserved to give.
Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go into your 1 minute for your closing.
I was really glad I had the opportunity because service really means more to me than just giving back to the community, because it helps me improve my abilities also. And because I feel as a staff campus member, I really don't have the chance of approaching USAC in general. So I was really glad that you have given me this opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause. Okay, now we can go and need any discussion regarding Tammy's appointment. Ariel?
When I was taking a look at her resume under special skills, it says right under pilot too. I was really curious. I was like, okay, let's see how she does it. That definitely shined through on. I really enjoyed listening and watching her out there, and among her other qualifications, she has the 2 thumbs up from me.
Also, I really appreciate him willing to be the alternate as well, since we do appoint 3.5 one of the alternates. One of these.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say after that too, the optimistic people in the community atmosphere, that would come back to watching community service. But so far, I liked everything that she has to say as an alternate. So I move to approve Tammy Strong as the community activities subcommittee.
Is there a second? Second by Zach. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those against? And those that abstain? All right, so 11-0-0 vote. Can't be 7-0. Thank you. Okay, so Lucy, when it's about to say or head out, because I know you have tomorrow is when you're starting applications and everything, so if you want to go home, get home, leave. It's welcome to stay. All right, next time we'll go to our judicial board appointment. So first up, we have Michael Bateman. So I'll have Heather read the ARC description, description from my office about judicial board, and then go ahead and read the ARC review for Michael Bateman.
Judicial Board. The Judicial Board is the judicial branch of the Undergraduate Students Association. Judicial Board justices review petitions for hearings, hear cases, and determine constitutional issues. Justices serve on the J Board for the duration of their tenure as UCLA undergraduate students in good standing to a maximum of 4 years. 7 undergraduates are appointed by the USAC president in keeping with the stated tenure. So Michael Bateman received a 1-0 vote, and notes were need to be more knowledgeable of the funding. Or no, that's not the right one. Oh, okay, here we go. Expand upon definition of conflict of interest, tighten up the language conflict of interest to be more specific, tighten up your understanding of the grievance process and how you implement that process. To study historical context of past decisions made by J Board to preserve precedents. That was really wordy.
Okay, thank you. So Michael, come up front. So you'll have 1 minute for your introduction, so you want to stand, okay? You'll have 1 minute for your introduction. I'll raise my hand when you have about 10 seconds left. Then you'll have 5 minutes from the council questions to you, and then you'll have 1 minute for your closing.
Sure, absolutely.
Ready? So ready whenever you are.
Sure. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Bateman, and I'm seeking the appointment for the Undergraduate Student Association Judicial Board. A little bit about me. I'm a rising third-year economics and accounting major. A little bit about my experience. Had a passion for law for a long time. I was a team captain on my multi-mile team in high school. We were semifinalists. I was ranked 6th in an international appellate law competition put on by Duke University. I interned for a law professor at Chapman University, and I want to be able to understand law. That's my goal. So at UCLA, I've taken a number of classes from business law to international criminal law, and my favorite, freedom of speech, First Amendment law. I think really the First Amendment is the backbone of this nation. Without it, we're lost. So it's imperative that we uphold it. And really, just about that, that's why I want to pursue law. Hoping it's going to be a career choice of mine in the next few years. I think this is a great,
10 seconds.
Sure, this is a great step for me and for the students in the school. We are J1.
All right, great, thank you. So go ahead with 5 minutes from the council, 5 minutes of questions from the council. Brittany?
Why do you think it is important that we have a judicial board?
Sure. For the same reason that we have an executive, legislative, and judicial part in our government, it's checks and balances. You know, it's an interpretation by the executive branch, and always the same interpretation that is by the Constitution. And you need, in this case, 7 members to really be able to understand the correct interpretation that lays some foundation for future decisions to be made.
All right, any other questions? Dan?
I guess I was reading over like what justice of the judicial board is required to like know, and like all the different, you know, very like wide range of like things that you're required to be like an expert on. And I know that you needed to know like objections and whatnot. So I was just reading over like the list earlier today. I don't know, what do you think is your definition of what's it called hearsay?
Hearsay? Sure. So hearsay is defined as an out-of-court statement used to prove the truth of a matter asserted therein. That's a lot of words. What it really means is that you have a statement that you are verbal or non-verbal that is being used in a trial to prove what is being said in that statement. One of the things that I take effect with in the actual list of objections that I have with me right now is that there are actually hearsay exceptions to the rule. Excited utterance for one, there's about a dozen of them. And in our abridged version of the objection, it's not there. And I really think that to be a complete judicial board, we should make an amendment for that and to really to include that so that the full trial process can be swift and can be filled to its full potential. Yeah. Yes.
Amy?
Given your breadth of knowledge in the U.S. judicial system, how are you going to take that and tailor that to USAC?
Sure.
The election and how that functions, because there are some differences.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think really the judicial board in both the United States and at UCLA, it's a reactionary process. It's interpreting what decisions have been made. And so my job as a judicial board member is to interpret based on the Constitution, based on the election code, the judicial board bylaws, of course, the correct interpretation so that there is no confusion. I know several cases have been about the election board, election code, sorry. So I think it's imperative that if there are ambiguities, if there's vagueness in the code, that the judicial board steps in and really make sure that there are no vaguenesses, and that we really solidify understandings and interpretations that come out of it.
And on what standards would you solidify those interpretations and vagueness?
Sorry, can you rephrase your question?
By what standards would you essentially, as you said, solidify the interpretations and vagueness? Like,
Sure.
what rating system would you use?
Sure. So I'm actually going to cite a case for you. It's the last one that Matt Zaniati, the Chief Justice, wrote a correct opinion on. The biggest problem with what happened there was that there was ambiguity. And it's really making an amendment to the election code so that there is no ambiguity. So that people, when they read something out of space, they make an understanding and it's clear that everyone agrees on it, the majority of people agree on it, so that it's easy to come to that conclusion and you don't have to be really vague in your understanding.
Are there any questions? Ian?
How will you decide what cases, or how will you decide which cases that J-Board should take? So I know it takes, I think, about 4 justices to hear a case.
Sure.
So how will you decide which cases you'll choose to decide?
Sure. So I mean, it's a great thing, but I want to trust my gut. I want to say that I want to read the language. I want to make my own interpretation. And if I do feel that there is some vagueness, or that somebody does feel some vagueness, I feel it's my job, it's my duty to make sure that I make a complete interpretation so that other people can understand it. And I think the point of judicial board is to really aid in that process. So that's how I'll be select the cases.
Are there any other questions?
That's me. Yeah.
Zach?
Based on your current knowledge of the judicial board and past judgments and decisions that have made or how they operate as a whole, is there anything that you would change or anything that you really like about the current process of J-Board that you'd like to keep going, or any changes that you think should be made?
Sure. Do you mean to the structure of J-Board as it's made, or?
It can be the structure, the way in which they hear cases, or
Sure.
anything on that stage.
Sure. So in my 2 years here, I've actually never really gone out of my way to go to office hours because I didn't know that they were there. And I know there are a lot of students at UCLA who either want to become lawyers or want to get involved in that spectrum of the world. So I think as a judicial board, we should be more forthcoming and really having conversations with people. I think when we write decisions or when we interpret decisions, I think we should have a group discussion about it, not just amongst ourselves when we write it, of course, but really to have students come to us and have some kind of discourse. Because after all, we're a higher learning facility, and I think that's really a hands-on kind of part of the law that's in it. Yeah.
Okay, so right now we are approaching 5 minutes, so I can entertain a motion to approve, to extend by, let's say, 4 minutes, because I know last time we kept doing 2 minutes and 2 minutes, so we can do one extension in 4 minutes if anyone would like to make that motion. Amy?
I motion to extend the question by 4 minutes.
Okay, so you move to approve
To extend the question by
4 minutes. Is there a second? All right, second by Danny. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those against? And those abstaining? All right, to 11:00 vote, I'm going to start the clock over, and this is 4 minutes now. So Amy, I had you next the question.
So, in your last response in regards to the office hours and group discussions, how will you ensure the group discussions don't become a problem when it comes to the idea of conflict of interest? How will you ensure that those are separated from one another in your decision?
Sure. So I think by discussion I make, I mean, after the fact, ex post facto, to have those discussions after it's written. Of course, I wouldn't have discussions during an ongoing case. That would absolutely create a conflict of interest. Yeah, I hope that answers
Heather? Have you reached out to members of the J board to kind of get a good understanding of the time requirements that it takes to be a justice?
Yeah, absolutely. I reached out to Rachel Beta. She's the one that really made me interested in judicial court. She's a good friend of mine. She said that she's excited about everything. I want to partake in that too. She said, as you can see with the cases, they're not all the time, which is good. So the time commitment, it's not minimal because there are office hours at a minimum every other week, which is good. And so I'm available.
What are your strategies and like tactics of balancing work and school and whatnot? Just get an idea of how you would take the position.
Sure. So other than current executive board position on my fraternity, I have nothing. So I have time. I mean, it's not even the LSAT, so I'm using it, but it's going to go hand in hand. Yeah.
You guys have a question?
Any other questions?
Oh, yeah. This is a question I have to ask in group interviews, but since you are an aspiring lawyer and judicial board job obviously goes with that, if you couldn't put the job on your resume, would you still do it?
I could put it on.
Could not put the job.
Oh, absolutely. One of the aspects of law that I'm really interested in is corporate law, and one of the things that they look for is sort of business experience. Like right now, I have some internships at IT, so they like that. They like law stuff too, but this is more of something that I do on a personal basis because I do like this stuff. I go out of my way to take those classes because I'm genuinely interested. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll go into your 1 minute for your closing. So I'll let you know when you have 10 seconds left.
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Again, my name is Michael Baisman, and I'm seeking the appointment from the Judicial Board of Undergraduate Student Association. Like I said before, I really do care about law. I love law, and I love UCLA in general. So I think that I can be a strong asset for the students, for this council, and for the already existing members of the Judicial Board in our analysis of the cases and in our interpretations of that. And with that, I'll yield my time. That's how it goes.
All right, thank you so much.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so now go into sessions. So I'll just stay, or you can step outside, or you can walk on your floor. Okay. So now we're going to discuss regarding the payment of invoices. Zach?
I would like to get the opinion of the two that voted no in ARC, and the reasons why they voted no and what you observed.
I'm going to pass this over to the chair of the ARC. I think that the votes were confidential, like who voted which way.
Okay.
Are they in?
Yeah, they are.
Who's the resident expert on all things bylaws? Let me look them up, but I think that they are.
Is it possible to just like go over what was, I guess, needed for improvement or something?
Yeah, from the chair standpoint.
I think maybe it's,
Okay, exactly. So before we go into that, let's have Heather look up the bylaws first. And then if not, we can go straight into, we already read his recommendation. So it did have specifically what were things that were discussed upon approving. And so the reason that recommendation is sent out is so that each member of the council can read it ahead of time and know what was discussed. So was there anything regarding the bylaws?
I was gonna put forth that maybe it's more productive to itemize the recommendations and see if we feel that those questions have been satisfactorily answered, if not, discuss those that haven't been sufficiently answered.
I'm going to say that we have already read the ARC recommendations, and like I said, they have been sent out to council.
They're all shared on the doc.
Oh, so it's
Oh, I
So it's all ARC
Thank you.
question 2015. Right. And just because we hadn't typically practiced going through each recommendation for ARC, I don't think that would be necessarily fair unless that was the practice we continue on or practice we would want to establish now. But I think because we had sent out the ARC recommendations, you are shared in that document, so it is forwarded to you all, and you all know the appointment's coming on Wednesday before the week starts, so you do have that time to review over them. Maybe if there are specific questions regarding one of the recommendations, the chair can answer since she was present during the ARC interviews.
Yeah, okay, so the bylaws say all voting within the appointment review committee is confidential with only the numerical outcome to be presented to the council and the public.
So it is confidential who votes which way. So maybe if there is, Zach, did you have a question regarding one of the recommendations?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, because if there is a question, we can direct them to the chair since she was present. All right, is there any discussion regarding the appointment of members? I could also entertain a motion as well. Lexi, your question? Yep. Okay. I would also like to say before we move on to that this is the neutral board. According to the USA Constitution, we have to have 2/3 vote of who is present. So we do have 11, so that would be equal need to vote to confirm the appointment. Ian, did you have something?
Oh,
Yes.
I was going to move my motion.
Okay.
All right, I move to approve my placement as a judicial board appointee.
All right, second by Zach. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those against? 1, 2, and those that abstain? All right, so to 8-2-0 vote, Michael Baseman has been approved for judicial board. Congratulations. It's also Michael Baseman's birthday, and he came out to council, so happy birthday.
It's my birthday.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to judicial board appointment for Francisco. So go ahead and read your ARC review before we move so. Okay. Have it, don't read your ARC review. Sorry, I'm sharing. Okay.
So he received a 3-0-0 vote of approval, and the notes were that he was very knowledgeable and he addressed both aspects of conflict of interest and knowledgeable about the procedures of filing agreements.
Okay, thank you. So we'll have you come up front. So like this is practice for everyone else. You have 1 minute for your introduction. I'll let you know when you've got about 10 seconds left, and then you have 5 minutes from questions from the council, then 1 minute for closing.
Hello everyone, I am Francesco. Thank you very much for considering me for a position on the Judicial Board. This year I will be in my 3rd year here at UCLA. I am majoring in political science and minoring in global studies. I would like to be a member of the Judicial Board because I believe it serves an important role here on our campus. The judicial branch ensures that students are treated fairly by the Undergraduate Student Association and that all the rules are followed. If appointed to this position, I will make sure that I am knowledgeable of the Undergraduate Student Association Constitution, bylaws, the election code, and the official rules of the Judicial Board, so that I can make the appropriate decisions whenever a case arises. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead to questions from the council. Are there any questions? Yep.
Can you describe the process in which a case is filed with the judicial board?
Sure. So first we have the petition for consideration. So someone submits a petition for consideration to the Judicial Board in which they basically outline the merits of their case. They have to outline what they believe, what rule they believe has been broken, what they want in return for their grievance, and then we have to vote if we approve the petition for consideration or we disapprove it. We need 3 people to approve it, and if we do approve it, then the 2 sides, the petitioner and the respondent, have to assign a representative, and then we go to a preliminary hearing. And in the preliminary hearing, the Judicial Board basically tells both sides what parts of the case it will be addressing. It is the Judicial Board that decides what parts of the case will be addressed, not the petitioner. And then after the preliminary hearing, we go on to the Court of Hearing, And in the court of hearing, the burden of proof is on the petitioner, which means that the petitioner must demonstrate that the wrong was done by a preponderance of evidence. And then lastly, we have judgment. And that is a decision is made by the judicial board that it can be overruled by this council with a 3/4 vote.
Danny?
In serving like on judicial board in the future, would you hope to use this experience potentially after you graduate UCLA?
Would I hope to use?
What would you like? What are your future plans?
Well, my future plans would definitely, I hope to apply to law school, so I think this would be a relevant position for me. It would give me a lot of experience. I've taken a course on the U.S. Supreme Court here on campus where we had to analyze the U.S. Constitution and read cases, and we had to read the justices' opinions, so I thoroughly enjoy that. I think it's very interesting, so I do think this would be a very, a great opportunity for me if I'm here.
Ariel?
I was wondering what skills do you have to bring to the judicial board, and what do you hope to take away after your time?
Well, I would say that throughout my undergraduate career as a political science major, I've gained analytical skills, reading skills, writing skills, comprehension skills, which I think are relevant to this position. I enjoy analyzing arguments, and I enjoy deliberating with other students, cooperating with other students, which I think is very important for this position because we have to be able to cooperate with the other members of the board to come to the best decision. And I think your question asked also what I hope to get out of it.
Yeah.
So what I hope to get out of it is basically, I think this is a very important part of the Undergraduate Student Association. I think public service is very important for someone, and it would truly be a great honor if I can serve in this board, because I think students need to know that there are 7 impartial members that will hear their case and make sure they're being treated fairly on our campus.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go into your 1 minute for your closing. I'll let you know when you have 10 seconds left.
So once again, thank you very much for taking the time to consider me for this position. If I am appointed to the judicial board, I will make sure that I am knowledgeable of previous decisions and of all the rules. I will make sure that I am impartial when making any decisions, and I will cooperate with other members of the judicial board to ensure that we can be successful in all of our duties. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sit down and have that we'll go straight into discussion regarding. So are there any points of discussion? I can also entertain a motion as well. Amy?
The one thing I want to say was I was very impressed with this interview. The amount of knowledge he knew was mind-blowing. Like, he could quote basically the procedure and definition from none other, and that to me was well-done research on the part of everyone. It's very seriously.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I was really impressed with his knowledge process, almost into it, which is brilliant.
Any other? Oh, yeah?
Like he and they pointed out, he's very knowledgeable, and he also shows that he's very eager to learn, even to expand his knowledge with his knowledge. Better represents his work.
I move to approve Francesco as the judicial board, as a judicial board justice.
Is there a second? Second by Amy. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And those against? And those that abstain? All right, an 11-0-0 vote. Just as I agree. Okay, thank you so much. You're welcome to stay for us in council meeting room, whichever you want to do. I also just want to do a point of clarification for Michael Mason appointed. I said 8-2, it was actually 9-2. I had written down 9 and said 8, so I apologize for that. Just saying that for USAC Live. All right, so now we'll go into our officer and member reports. So I'm up first. Last Tuesday, so 2 Tuesdays ago, I had a meeting with Jeffrey Lewis, who is the department chair of the political science department. We discussed ways that USAC can work better with certain academic departments. I also talked to Trent about our meeting and things we discussed. One thing the political science department is looking to do is to kind of create its own version of LinkedIn, a way for people to kind of update more of like a living resume. You can include links to videos, links to, if you were in a debate team or something, you can do a speech you had done. So that's something that I look forward to working with the political science department on. I also had a meeting with the Executive Vice Chancellor, Carol Goldberg. She's the Executive Vice Chancellor of Academic Personnel. We talked a lot about her kind of journey to where she is today. She's worked at UCLA for now 40 years. She is a law professor. And so we talked about her experience on the Academic Senate, as well as different kind of patterns that's been happening on with certain campus climate issues at UCLA. We discussed a lot about what things have been popping up and how we can work to kind of reverse campus climate, or make it more something that's less contentious here at UCLA. We talked about the importance of community service as well. I also had a meeting with Debbie Simmons, who is the Student Government Accounting Officer, and we talked about the budget a little bit in regards to how removing membership from the USAC. We also talked about what's going to happen with the minimum wage increase that President Napolitano is implementing come October. One thing she mentioned in regards to our stipend, so we are technically working under 20 hours a week, however, it is a stipend, so it's not actually us working 20 hours a week. So from the interpretation that she understands at this point, that there will not be that increase, which is something that we kind of talked about, how that would affect SUF and SCOP. And so the interpretation that it is standing right now, that we won't be affected come October. There will be different minimum wage jobs that are within the student government or within USAC that will be affected, but for us and our officer stipends, that's the interpretation come now. However, it is still pretty much up in the air since a lot of the schools don't really know what to do right now. So that is just where kind of that is. I also had a meeting with Lindsay Bubar. She is a political consultant. She went to USC undergrad, but she works big on women in politics. So we talked a lot about how to kind of close the pipeline of how women are getting into higher politics. She works specifically an organization that trains women who are part of the Democratic Party and how they can start in smaller roles such as council or local politics, and how that's going to kind of bridge the pipeline to work in state and eventually national politics. So I had a great conversation with her about specifically why women are involved in politics, what are some reasons that she kind of thinks. She stated some reasons from kind of the voting end, and also why women don't usually run as candidates. So it's very interesting to hear her perspective from more of the professional world. And that is it for my officer report. Are there any questions? No. All right, seeing none, we'll go on to our internal vice president, Heather.
All right. I just have one announcement. I sent out an availability email to you all over the weekend, so please reply back to me with your availability for October 16th, because I'm trying to schedule trainings for our USAC retreat, and I want to make sure that all of you are able to attend. So just get that to me by tomorrow evening. That's it.
All right, are there any questions for our internal vice president? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to our external vice president, Zach Felder.
So most of what I've been doing is preparing for our first trip to Washington, D.C. that begins this coming Sunday. We have, at the moment, these visits increase and decrease every day, but at the moment we have about 15 standing meetings that we can count on, in addition to 4 meetings with various associations like the Association of Public and Land-Grant Universities, the Office of the President, things of that nature, 15 legislators, staff, and occasionally the actual senators, Congress people, and the principal themes we'll be discussing is student loan debt, expanding Pell Grant, middle income affordability, sort of the standard crop. So that's sort of been all-consuming the last couple weeks, but I've also been just working on preparing the office for everyone's arrival in the fall, and a lot of voter registration machinations. There's a possibility that we'll have a big move-in freshman voter registration
event going on, but we're still refining that. So that's about all I have.
Are there any questions for our external vice president? Yeah, Amy.
I had asked this a couple of weeks ago, would you need, because in the past, MVP has done the MVP road concert, with Cat. So it's just the idea of one, if you would still want to continue that, and two, if you would, we would need a plan of action in terms of how much money you're putting aside, how much help we needed from Cats, and just because, CAC right now is planning all its events for the year, and so we need to do as soon as possible, just to ensure that we can also come forward and put our part into it without losing the
So we're considering a whole range of different events to improve engagement in the process, and because one problem is that if we focus too much on voter registration, there's the element of we don't actually vote. So we've considered a lot of different angles, whether it's bringing in a series of big ticket candidates that would likely engage students just by virtue of their name recognition, everything from creating sort of a duplicate of the John Stuart Bill O'Reilly debate, the thing, also in concerts as well. So we're still in sort of the formative stages of that, but I actually really love to sit down and discuss what resources there are available and what we could potentially do with a concert type event. So let's definitely schedule it.
Just as someone that's involved in the student group, I've been discussing it for last year. What we did last year with the Ruins Local Congress Office was we host an annual week student reserve week. So we invite new freshmen who transfers to meet older students. And we usually get 100 students to come out. And we had voter registration going on there, through which we got a couple of students to register to vote. Also, I'm involved with the groups for Bernie, and so I feel like you could reach out to specific groups that are trying to get the vote out for specific candidates. They'll obviously be interested in getting people to register to vote. So those are just two things that you could collaborate with.
Yeah, and those are definitely avenues we're exploring, and Bernie Sanders has definitely been mentioned as someone we're discussing trying to bring to campus. And I know in addition to Amy, Lexi has said that she's interested in participating in these kind of events. So I definitely think the will is there, and there's a lot of different. I'm excited for how 2016 will affect the events atmosphere on the campus.
All right, are there any other questions?
Seeing none, we'll go on to our.
I just heard Donald Trump's name at the end of the table.
Okay, we'll go on to our Academic Affairs Commissioner. So we have Ashley and for Trent.
Trent has a few updates. Can you all hear me, by the way, or do I need to use my equipment? Basically, Trent is looking forward to working with the Constitutional Review Committee when he gets back, which will be officially at UCLA on the 3rd, so soon. And then he also is working on ASRF in particular because it needs some revision, so we can't get started with that. He said he will be meeting with as many academic admins as possible before the year starts, and administrators from College Academic Counseling, the UCLA Registrar, Executive Board Chair, Sole Advisor, Dean of Undergrad Education, and the Director of Office of Instructional Development. He has a meeting pending with the Info Tech Services with Ian at FAC. He wants to improve that Wi-Fi though. And then Zoya, since you're proxying for Alia, he wanted you to go ahead and make sure that Alia reaches back to him about contacting with Jerry Kane. He wants to meet with him before the fall quarter starts, if you could send that message to Alia. Trent also has been working with me with my recent com board appointment. I met with Really Ward, and he wanted me to mention that because we're discussing work with Bruin Walk and revamping it so that it's more student friendly. So we're looking forward to talking with not only that team, but also, take some action in terms of revamping and professor reviews. So hopefully we'll be able to get some of that done this year. And he'll be back at council on the 8th. And lastly, so go Bruins. Maybe he will see some of you guys at the football game this Saturday. So, yeah.
All right, well, thank you. Are there any questions for Thompson for Trent today? Okay, seeing none. Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to our community service commissioner.
All right, Heather and I have been working, if you haven't seen the Daily Room article earlier, on the funding portal that's coming for funding here at UCLA. Still a lot of work to do with that, so again, my shout out to Patty Zimmerman and the tech coder Logan, who worked really hard this past year to get that website up and going, and now we're able to look at funding bodies across campus, get them integrated onto the centralized funding body process, and so Heather and I are planning a special presentation sometime within the next few weeks to show that and outreach to student groups to make it easier to apply and access funds. Something new coming for CSC is we are integrating for the first time ever a sort of a volunteer day part 2. Following volunteer day, we are integrating what we are calling a serve fest on the Hill from 6 to 9. So now instead of students just going out and participating in volunteer day and coming back and leaving the bus and then just sort of being left like, well, what's next? That evening, we have Sunset Village blocked out on the hill. We're gonna have a viewing of the football game that is scheduled to be during that time. And we're gonna have all community service organizations registered through the SOL office there to recruit and promote their community service organizations to engage first years and those that participate in volunteer day early on in their careers at UCLA and give them that opportunity to increase that civic engagement. So we're getting the marketing done in partnership. It's going to be CSC, Volunteer Day, and Residential Life bringing that, and we are going to have food on the hill. So that evening, definitely get an invite for you all. And if that's a place you all would like to table as well, this is a part of civic engagement, so I will send you a link as well to register for that. So, and other than that,
all right, are there any questions for your community service commissioner? All right, seeing none, we'll go on to the student wellness commissioner.
Good evening, everyone. Currently still planning health coming plan to be Monday, October 5th, Monday is excuse. But once I get more information on that, I will let you know. Just a quick refresh. It's going to be trying to hit all parts of campus, health coming, trying to welcome, introduce students to what health is in a college student context. So we're going to try to be getting River Plaza, South Campus, Wilson Plaza, and also the Hill. And so if any of you all have any ideas or ways you would like to get involved, please let me know. If not, I should be reaching out to all of you all sometime soon, or at least someone. And so also, next, for later on this week, I'm going to be meeting with Heather and a bunch of other very significant people on this campus to plan out a very significant week, which is Campus Safety Week, which is going to be a big shout out to Heather for organizing all this. I'm so excited to get involved. Also speaking with the funding website. Congratulations, it's really amazing. And hopefully we can get some of the smaller funds on the table on there too. I'm currently working on trying to get into electronic forms, maybe I'll facilitate the process. And actually, I don't have much else to say because I was actually out of town since last meeting. I was on the East Coast, but I did get the chance to meet Ms. Tracy George, who was actually the health educator of the student wellness kind of like the Ash Center of Yale University there. And so I got a chance to meet with her, and I asked her like how Yale works, and she says, "Oh yeah, I'm just one health educator that goes to different residential colleges and plans programs." And I'm like, wait, I do the same thing when I'm a student. So it was really cool. And then I went to UCLA, and she said, "Oh, that's really cool. We collaborate with UCLA for like the mindfulness, stress relief, like CE and like soundtrack." And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And so I'm excited to get in touch with her and hopefully connect her with Reno Ornstein, who's like analogous at the Ash Center and meet with her. But that's my report for. Thank you very much.
Yep. All right, are there any questions for your student wellness commissioner? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to our administrative representatives. Mr. Roy is not here. Dr. Miller?
So just to give you all a heads up, we are in the early planning stages of this year's governance breakfast. If you can hold breakfast on October 5th, more details will be coming. I don't have the time to place yet, but we're planning something and we'll all be invited.
Great. Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, we'll go on to Michael Stark. Nothing? All right. Christine, welcome back.
Thank you.
Nothing? Okay. And Patty.
Sure, just one quick update. So over the next week, I'll be sending out emails tomorrow. We'll hopefully be doing some, most of your offices look great, with some summer cleaning. We'll be doing a health and safety walkthrough next week with our security staff, just to ensure that everything is, all the passageways are clear, nothing's stacked up too high. So I'll try and go through all the offices tomorrow and write down notes, so I can email everyone individually if there's anything that I would recommend working on before next Thursday. But you can just try and talk to your staff, just work to have your offices tidy before next Thursday. That would be great. I'll also be contacting the office student group. So yeah, just make sure exit-ways are clear, box aren't stacked up too high. If you do have cabinets that aren't secured to the walls, let me know. I'll put in some maintenance requests. We'll take care of you. Those things.
Thank you. Any questions?
Oh, yes. Okay, so with this, you might have some trash or big items that you might want to get rid of. I will doing some summer cleaning. Please not put these items into the hallways. Contact me and I can get them removed from your office. I think IVP had, they were removed, correct? So it was like, they emailed me that night it was taken out. So it will be taken care of very quickly within a day or two. So just if you could just help us keeping these hallways as clear as possible, just contact my office instead of just throwing things into the hallway. That would be great. Even if it's just large bags of trash, just label the trash, we'll have that in your office. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Patty, for that. All right, any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to our fund allocations. So the only fund allocation we have for this week is contingency programming.
12 groups of time contingency, $6,810.47 to required. $5,113.51 was requested. VACCOM recommends $2,015 to be paid. After this allocation, there will be $78,725.
Okay. Is there any discussion regarding contingency allocation? Yes, great job. All right, are there any questions? I can also entertain a motion as well.
Move to approve the contingency allocation today.
Okay, can you restate the allocation amount? If it is approved, what's the amount? The amount that you're suggesting, the 2,000. So, can you say what the amount in it?
2015.
Yeah.
Is that the year or the?
The amount.
I move to approve the amount as stated by the FICOM.
Okay. The second by you. All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those against and those that abstain. All right, so 11-0-0 vote the contingency programming allocation is not approved. All right, we have no old business. We'll go ahead straight into new business. So there is a discretionary fund request by Heather Fordwood. Yeah, so I'll pass it on to you. Yay.
Okay, so I would like to use a part of discretionary to pay for the USAC internship flyers that I sent out the graphics to you all, and I sent the invoice order form. So it totaled for 2,000 flyers, and I chose 2,000 so that we do have a lot of offices on that flyer that have a lot of internships, and so I thought, you know, it would be, if we each get like 200, 300 flyers, whatever, we can figure that out later. You know, we can have that at the enormous activities fair and whatever other marketing strategies that you have. So I just wanted to make sure that we had enough for everyone. So that's why I chose that number. And the amount equaled $449.53.
Okay. Is there any discussion regarding the discretionary fund request? Oops. Okay, I can also,
I move to approve the discretionary fund request for $449.53.
Okay, before I get a second, I just want to double check with our FICOM intern chair. We have 16,000 in discretionary, correct? Okay, so just as you all know. All right, so I have a motion on the table. Is there a second? Second by Ian. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those against? And those abstaining? All right, so we're at 11, 0, 0 vote. The discretionary request for $449.53 has been approved. I will give all of you flyers. Okay, so now we'll go into announcements. So we'll start right here and go around. So enthusiastic EDP here.
So I finalized the Maroon Defenders structure, and I will need council-wide participation to make it a success, which is to say that basically what we've decided is that the best way to go about this is any given student group that has any claim to any advocacy component is entitled to a liaison with my office, and through that liaison, they can apply for the resources that EVP offers for their advocacy efforts, which is to say access to contacts, staff, meetings, that sort of thing, funding for travel, and just the scale, having an office that has trained lobbyists that can help them with their efforts where they're otherwise occupied. So that's to say that, if any given group wants to advocate on an issue that's important to that group, that they can go through this application process time by time to accomplish their advocacy goals. So I want to do this big sort of publicity push at the very beginning of the year when student groups are come together, recruiting new members, and so that when there's all this new energy and momentum, they also appoint someone to be in regular contact with our office if they want to work on advocacy issues throughout the year. So that's all to say that just keep that on the back burner so that when the beginning of school comes, if it does so quickly every year, that we're ready to reach all of our networks and make sure everyone's really well informed that this is an option for them. I plan on going through a variety of different avenues to do this myself, op-eds in the Daily Bruin, social media campaigns, things of that nature, but it's always good to have everyone on. So there's that. And then also, I've been working for the past couple weeks on what I call an external affairs primer, which is to say that when I came to the office, there's no really centralized source of institutional knowledge on external issues. For instance, the average student leader doesn't know what Prop 98 is, or why that was passed, or how it affects us. And sometimes it's helpful to know, or at least have a reference guide. And so I'm only 10 pages in now, but hopefully by the time it's done, it'll be a really extensive, comprehensive look at every sort of big ticket, relevant external affairs issue as sort of a reference guide for any student leader or really anyone that wants to use it. So that includes everything from the intricacies of the budget process to bills that have affected our student communities, to shared governance, and it goes on. So just keep a lookout for that also. And I'm done.
Great. Thank you. Any question?
Yes. Kind of, like a comment. Okay.
And from quick off, you should read because it has all that information too.
But not.
Okay. Moving on. Yeah. All right. Any announcements right here, Danny, Lexi, Zach, Eden, Ashley? Or yeah.
Yes. So this weekend I got the opportunity to go to the Pac-12 Leadership Summit. I thought I wasn't going to make it, so that's a good place. And I think it was had a great time, learned a lot. It consisted of all the student government leaders, presidents, other representatives, council members from all Pac-12 schools, and we learned about diversity and sexual assault, and also just had a lot of fun. They took us to the ball game. The leadership summit took place at the university across town. I probably wore a sweatshirt every day I was there. I think I did a good job representing UCLA as the only room there, while some other campuses had a few representatives because I was only brewing. So all the jokes, every speaker that came, I was trying to dodge bullets. Fire someone needed. We picked a Pac-12 initiative to take on this year, as I know every year they do. Last year was sexual assault, and this year they decided to continue that initiative as well as take on another one. It's very ambitious, and I think with all the Pac-12 schools, student governments behind them, they could definitely be accomplished. This year, it was, once again, it was sexual assault, and we also took on mental health. So we're going to receive more information in the coming weeks on how we're going to tackle that. I guess I'm going to be the liaison between our student government and all the other Pac-12 student governments, and I'll keep you updated with progress with that one. Oh, also, I just wanted to give you a quick update about the Show Me the Ropes mentorship program. We're going full steam. Mentor signups came out last week, and we got over 30 so far. Mentee signups are going to come in the coming week. We're going to make a little cool promo video to kind of get more people to sign up, and people hyped and ready to go. And yeah, any questions?
I have a question. For that, do you have to be transferred to sign up to be a mentor?
No, we kept it open. Like if you are a traditional student and wants to help out a mentor, and you have interest and knowledge you want to pass on to a transfer student, you're more than welcome to apply. I wanted to something when I decided to get on the role as transfer representative was kind of curious with the African traditional community and transfer community, because at the end of the day, we're all Bruins, and I didn't want to keep that divided.
So I highly encourage all council members to sign up. I think it'd be a great way, since we are so involved in the university, to spread our knowledge and everything.
Absolutely. It would be great if you let me say.
I will apply. I will apply. Okay. Going along. All right. Any other announcements for Amy? Announcements for Dr. Geller, Marvin, others?
Okay, seeing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Danny?
Motion to adjourn.
Move.
Move.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Amy. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. Those against? And those abstain? All right, so 11-0-0 vote. I call the meeting adjourned at